Kubamba means something catchy, something attractive, something funky, something good, something that you like. It's a slang word in Swahili that young people use here in Kenya. On May 15th, 2000, I got a radio show with a Christian radio station here, and the radio show was called Kubamba, and that's where the ministry started. Before we came into the scene, gospel music was there, but there was no gospel music that was targeting the young people. So the gospel music that we used to listen to was targeting a more mature audience, from like the ages of 30 and above, but nothing really that was connecting with the young people, especially the kind of music that they love listening to. So, here you have a young person who likes listening to hip hop, and what they're exposed to at that time. It could be maybe Snoop Dogg or 50 Cent, or even if you come recently, guys like Neo. And we had nothing in that nature to listen to that's gospel-wise that we can connect with. So there's a huge vacuum. So 15 years later, God has allowed us to grow from a place where gospel music was basically unknown, to a place where it's like the leading music in the country in Kenya right now. And we're also growing to other parts of Africa. Gospel music is being widely accepted all around. And just for the opportunity to being able to see a new culture rise up, just young people who are not ashamed about the gospel of Christ. We call it the culture of the unashamed, of Romans 1:16, and that's what Kubamba lives for.
The vision of Kubamba is very simple: to evangelize and disciple and create social awareness amongst the youth, not just in Kenya, but in Africa.
Our target audience is the age of 14 to 25, basically young guys in the high schools and also colleges. But, recently we have decided to lower the target audience and also target young, kids who are between the ages of 10 and 14, just because we felt they're growing too fast. Kubamba crew, what we realized was we needed to be able to connect with young people, wherever they were. And God has allowed us to be able to reach out on 3 platforms that K-Crew capitalizes on, and that's on air, online, and on ground, which we call the 360 approach. On air being, you're able to be on radio and reach out to the masses, or television, and those are the 2 platforms that God has allowed us to be in. God has allowed us to have 7 hours non-stop on the leading broadcasting station in Eastern Central Africa. That's every Sunday morning from 6 o'clock to 1 p.m. And that just allows us to be able to share the gospel with millions of people at one time. Radio, of course, is another platform that, it's the most popular form of entertainment. Almost everyone has a radio. If you don't have it in the house, you have it on your phone. And it just allows us to be able, again, to connect with people in their own comfort zones. So that's a big piece for us. Online, other than just the website, one of the things that we are strong on is social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Those are big pieces for young people, and we value those platforms because we still continue working with these young guys while they're still in their comfort zones. They can find out what it is that K-Crew is doing. We get to share the word of the day on those platforms, just allowing us to be able to continue with the impact that we've started. And then finally, on ground. On ground, we have 2 main platforms. One is the high school outreach. We absolutely love it because, as a continent, 70% of the population is below the age of 30. Between the ages of 25 and 14, you're probably covering about 40% of the population in the continent. That's huge. And we go hard in the high schools because we realize that if we want to save this generation, then it's easier to reach out to them before they get into college, because we have an African saying that says, if you want to bend a tree, you have to do it when it's still young.
Our high school and primary programs basically are about 2 hours long, and we start off with an icebreaker just to break the ice, get to know one another, introduction, and after that we do some music, gospel music, some praise and worship. After that we do have presentations. We want to hear what they have, give an opportunity for them to be seen and recorded and heard, and so that we can be able to broadcast that later. We also have time for group discussions. They can break down depending on the format or what we've been called in to do. So we can have group discussions, and then we have a motivational message, and then also the presentation of the gospel through skit or through dance or through testimony.
Last year in 2014, we were able to visit at least 405 institutions. This is a huge platform because we got to see 47,000 students accepting Christ as their Lord and Savior. That for us is something to celebrate about. And we also have Sunshine Kids, which we just launched towards the end of last year, that's 2014. Sunshine Kids is a base level Bible study and outreach for us as K-Crew to these kids who are between the ages of 10 and 14. And we just try to make sure that as we reach out to them, that they will let the light of Christ shine in their lives and share their experience with Christ with their peers. Our dream for Kubamba is this thing that we call the culture of the unashamed. We want to see the culture of the unashamed being established basically in our country, Kenya, in our continent of Africa, and beyond. And we basically just seeing young people, all the young at heart, living a life where they're not ashamed of the gospel of Christ. We want to be able to impact them mentally, socially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, just be able to mold them so we have a whole person who, at the end of the day, when people look at him, they can say, this person actually has had a relationship with Christ.